Hello, namaskar, namaskara, namaskaram, namaskar. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs. If you're new to this channel, I would like to give you a gist. What do I actually do here? I curate the information with respect to UPSC preliminary examination. What are the important things with respect to current affairs in the last 24 hours? Then I formulate the questions which actually need skills for solving. That means in this particular class, not only facts and conceptual clarity will be built, other than this, you will also get a lot of information about how to develop a knack for solving prelims MCQs. Now, if you want to ensure that you definitely crack prelims 2024, it is a must that you get used to this class on a daily basis. That means you have to attend this class on a daily basis. Do not worry about making notes because I provide the PDF of this regularly on my Telegram channel. So you can follow me on my Telegram channel, that is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you want to follow me on Instagram, if you have any questions regarding the UPSC examination, the strategy formulation, or with respect to doubts that you have in this class or any other class that I take, you can also go for Instagram and of course follow me on Threads as well. Moving ahead. These are the many events that we need to cover today step by step. First of all, let's talk about Export Preparedness Index, which has recently been released. So, with respect to the EPI 2022, because this data has been collected for the previous year and now presented for the current year. Consider the following. It is published by the Ministry of Ports. Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Karnataka are the top of this index. Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have the highest number of GI products being exported. So what do we have to see? How many statements given above is or are correct? Now, we do not have only to be dependent upon the superficial information, but also in-depth information about any index that has been released. Because over the years, UPSC also gets bored by asking the same kind of questions. So it mixes things up. It can change the trend that we saw for this particular year, and it can even ask you in-depth statements like the third one. So if you're just going to do the superficial reading, it's not going to help you. First statement is incorrect because this report is published by Niti Aayog, okay, and not the Ministry of Ports. If you have the conceptual clarity that exports are not only done through ports but through other mediums as well, then you can easily understand that first statement will be incorrect. Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Karnataka, the three coastal states, important coastal states of India, have done great as compared to the other coastal states. In the coastal states, Gujarat stands fourth and Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Karnataka have gained the position at the top of this index. GI products are those products which have been tagged as having special qualities because of the place from they are originating. And most of the GI products in India, they are being exported from the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So first statement is incorrect, second is correct, third is also correct. So how many are correct? Two only will be the correct answer. This report, Export Preparedness Index of 2022, has been released by the Niti Aayog in collaboration with Institute for Competitiveness. Please remember this. And the first report was brought into being in the year 2020. It has 4 pillars and under that 11 sub-pillars. We will talk about that as well. So on those pillars only, the competitiveness of each and every state is measured. Coastal states have performed much better than Himalayan states and landlocked states because of their sheer nearness to the port, and of course because of that they have certain policies which work in their favor. So Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh are at the top, while Odisha, West Bengal and Kerala are at the bottom. When we talk about Himalayan states, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh and Manipur, they have performed satisfactorily. Other than them, the other states and union territories have not. When we talk about landlocked states, Haryana, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is one of the positive outliers of the landlocked states. Also, many other states have to do well when it comes to export. Okay, moving ahead. These are the 4 key pillars we were talking about: policy, business ecosystem, export ecosystem and export performance. In here, business ecosystem has been given the most amount of weightage, 40%. Other than this, all have 20, 20, 20%. UPSC prelims can also ask us that which of the following pillars of the export preparedness index has the highest weightage. This is business ecosystem. Under policy, we have two sub-pillars, export promotion policy and institutional framework. Then, with respect to business ecosystem, we have business environment, infrastructure, transport connectivity, and also access to finance. Export ecosystem, we have export infrastructure, trade support, research and development infrastructure. And finally, for export performance, we have growth orientation, export diversification. All right. It has been found out that coastal states have performed much better than other states. Also, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Karnataka and Gujarat have shown exceptional performance, and all of them performing good in at least one of the important pillars. Landlocked states, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana remain the only positive outliers. In the Himalayan states, apart from these particular states and union territories, none other states have done well. When it comes to the district level, 73% of the districts in the country have an export action plan. Over 99% are covered under the One District, One Product scheme, and 29 states have registered a positive growth rate in exports over their pre-pandemic level. The top 10 states in India, they contribute to the 85% of total exports in the year 2021-2022, including Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Haryana, West Bengal, Telangana. These are the top 10 states in the past 3 years. Since the past 3 years, they are performing so. So if you like the way we teach on YouTube, we will also teach you in a similar manner on, of course, through our P2I batches. These will be dedicated batches for the year 2024. We have such a small or a few time that we have left with us right now that we need to prepare as quickly as possible. So this prelims to interview batch is a time savior. You will get everything regarding prelims, mains and interviews. When it comes to the courses, they are available in Hindi, English, English. English will be completely in English, and I will take up international relations in that batch. Other than this, you will also be provided study materials at your doorstep. Also, prelims test series, mains test series, daily answer writing practice, everything will be provided, and a specific mains residential program for those students who are going to qualify prelims 2024. I personally vouch for this particular batch because of course I am involved, and if you have any questions regarding this batch, please do not hesitate to ask me questions about it through my Instagram. Alright, if you provide a code that is by the name of PD Live, you will get a high discount. Generally this costs 70,000, but if you provide this code, it is just an investment of rupees 29,999. We are starting our evening batches from 22nd of July. That means only 3 days are left. So please take admission as quickly as possible. Next, consider the following. Demarcate electoral constituencies in the country. Scrutinize all candidates' nomination papers to decide on the disqualification of the elected members of the parliament or state legislature. Plan and prioritize election dates and schedules for all upcoming elections. How many of the above mentioned statements can be considered as an administrative power of the Election Commission of India? Remember how to differentiate between advisory, quasi-judicial and administrative. Administrative is more in reference to the operationalization of elections. Quasi-judicial is the decision making when it comes to any sort of dispute. Then I have told you this, right? Now you will be able to answer this question. See, the Election Commission of India has designated electoral registration officers and district election officers for 119 assembly constituencies and also 33 districts for the election of Telangana. Okay, that is why this question has been asked. So remember that we have to demarcate between or differentiate between quasi-judicial function over here, because I have already told you what is it when it comes to resolving disputes, and operational functions or administrative functions. So demarcate electoral constituencies in the country, yes, it is an administrative function of the Election Commission of India. Scrutinize all candidates' nomination papers, this is also an administrative function. But when it comes to deciding on disqualification of the election, isn't it resolving disputes? So when that is with respect to resolving disputes, it is quasi-judicial. It doesn't come under the function of administration. And then plan and prioritize election dates and schedule for all upcoming elections. So many of the students may get nervous, and if you haven't read this particular statement carefully, you can mark all of them as functions of the ECI. But we have to differentiate between the administrative and the non-administrative one. So only one here is non-administrative, that is the third one, because this is quasi-judicial. And first, second and fourth, these are the administrative ones. So 3 only will be the correct answer. Election Commission of India is an autonomous constitutional body which came into existence on 25th of January 1950 through the constitution only. Its secretariat is at New Delhi, and it takes care of direct elections and indirect elections. Direct elections include Lok Sabha elections, Rajya Sabha, and state legislative assembly elections. Indirect ones include president and vice president's elections. Then, if we talk about other sort of elections, that is municipal and panchayat elections, this is not the job of the Election Commission. It is with respect to State Election Commission. The part 15 of the Constitution, which takes into consideration Article 324 to Article 329. This is the part that deals with the Election Commission of India. And before 1989, it was just a single member body, the Election Commission. But when the amendment came into being to reduce the age for voters by a large faction, and that was 18 years. So what happened? Workload increased. So after that, what happened? It became a multi-member body. So remember that the president may from time to time may fix the number of members in the election commission. But chief election commissioner is at the head of it. President appoints the CEC as well as the election commissioner, and they have a fixed tenure of either 6 years. They reside in the office for either 6 years, or if they have completed 65 years of age. If I become the election commissioner at the chief election commissioner at the age of supposedly 64, but I can say I have 6-year tenure. No, I will complete 65 years in 1 year, right? So I will have to leave the office because, of course, whichever is earlier, either of the two, whichever is earlier, either you complete 6 years or you complete 65 years. They can also resign at any time and can be removed, but the removal process is similar to that of the Supreme Court judge by the Parliament. Very tricky questions can be made, so remember that. Also, administrative powers include demarcating electoral constituencies in the country, update and prepare new electoral rolls and enroll all eligible voters. This is administration. Plan and prioritize election dates and schedule for all upcoming elections. Scrutinize all candidates' nomination papers, and also election symbols and to all recognized parties is also given by the ECI. Right now, because of the problems at the NCP, this question can also be asked about the election symbols. List of positions which are appointed by the ECI include Chief Electoral Officer, District Election Officer, Returning Officer, and Electoral Registration Officer. Please keep this in mind. Consider the following statements. In India, bituminous is the most commonly used type of coal for electricity generation in India. The highest grade coal, anthracite, is found in a very large quantity in Jammu and Kashmir. About 50% of the fuel in India is Gondwana coal, which is the oldest kind of fossil fuel. Okay, so how many statements given above is or are correct? We have to select the correct one. See, in India, we find mostly all types of coals: bituminous, anthracite, lignite. But we have to remember in what quantity each is found, as in we should have a rough estimate. Just think from conceptual point of view, because we have mostly the reserve of low quality of coal. That is why we import coal most of the times. So this question, this concept will help you in solving this question. In India, bituminous is the most commonly used type of coal for electricity generation. This is definitely correct. Then Highest grade coal is anthracite, contains a lot of carbon content and the quality is really great. That means it does not put out a lot of ash. It doesn't have a lot of moisture. So it is although present in Jammu and Kashmir, but it is in a very small quantity. If students get nervous, they just read this much. Anthracite, Jammu, Kashmir. Yes, this is correct. No, but what about this? In a very large quantity? No. It's found, it is not available in a very large quantity. Small quantity is there. So first is correct, second is incorrect. We should also know which type of coal is used for electricity generation. Most commonly, it is bituminous. Then anthracite, I have already told you. And 98% of the coal reserves that we have is from Gondwana coal. That was formed 250 million years ago. 250 million years ago it was formed. And this is the oldest kind of coal in India. 250 million years ago. This is not 50, 98%. The correct answer will be. So first is correct, second is not correct, third is not correct. One only will be the correct answer. The Ministry of Coal has said that there is an adequate amount of coal that is present for thermal generation. It stands at 33.46 million tons, which is 28% higher as compared to the corresponding time of the last year. And coal is basically a readily combustible black or brownish sedimentary rock. Prelims can trick you by asking you about it, like coal is igneous rock or coal is metamorphic rock. Igneous, if you have conceptual clarity, you will be able to understand that it cannot and can never be igneous. It can either be metamorphic or sedimentary. And if a child has studied properly, if an aspirant has studied properly, they can easily make out it is sedimentary in nature. Okay? And it is predominantly made of carbon. Predominantly means it also consists of other elements, but most of the time, what do we find in it? Carbon. So these kind of tricky questions can be formulated. It is only made up of carbon. No, it is predominantly made up of carbon. If it could be only, then no other elements are present in coal. Okay? And the heat value of the coal reserves in our country is measured in gross calorific value. It is lower than the international coal reserves. We have to remember this line as well. Sometimes prelims can ask you, it is higher than the international coal reserves. No, it is lower. That is why quality assessment has been done and has to be done all the time by third-party sampling, where they test the quality of it. Coal is formed when dead plants and animals are buried inside the soil for a long period of time. And as the time increases, so does the quality of coal. As you can see, with time, because of heat and pressure, first we have peat, then brown coal, and when the time goes on further, we find black coal like subbituminous, then bituminous, and the finest quality is anthracite. Earlier, as you can see, that we have the installed generation capacity in this particular graph. From fossil fuel, we get 57.5% of the energy, and from non-fossil fuel, that is from renewable energy like solar, hydro, even nuclear energy, we find 42.5%. It is increasing now. And when it comes to fuel energy, coal remains the king. Coal is the most abundant fossil fuel source that we have among others. Then I have already told you this. So now let's find out which state has what. Jammu Kashmir has anthracite in small quantity. Then states such as Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha. This is rich in bituminous, the most commonly used coal for electricity generation. Then states like Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, these all have lignite, the lowest grade coal, which has a lot of moisture. Okay, and as you see, Gondwana reserves, from here we get the 98% of our coal reserves. Okay, moving on. Anthracite is the highest grade of coal, I have told you. It has high percentage of fixed carbon. It is hard, brittle, black and lustrous. That means it shines. And it is present in smaller quantity in regions of Jammu and Kashmir. Bituminous is a medium grade of coal. It has high heating capacity, most commonly used for electricity generation. Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. Okay, remember that. Then subbituminous, it is black in color and it is dull. It has a higher heating value than lignite. Lignite is the least grade coal, least carbon content, very moisturous. And Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir also has lignite, but in smaller quantities it has anthracite. Now it may seem that coal is used only for power generation, but no, steel production with help of coking coal, here also coal is used. Synthetic fuel by gasification and coal liquefaction in alumina refineries, paper manufacturing, chemical and pharmaceutical industries as well. And as you can see, United States in the entire world has the highest number of coal reserve, the largest number of coal reserve. Then we have Russia, Australia, China, and finally India. India stands fifth. In India, Jharkhand has the largest amount of coal reserve, which is followed by Odisha and then Chhattisgarh and so on, West Bengal as well. Okay, now let's move on and talk about this particular road run. We all know that India has to achieve net zero capacity by the year 2070. What is net zero? Net zero carbon emission doesn't mean that we are not going to emit carbon. It is going to be there, but we will balance it out by either capturing and storing it, by sequestering it with the help of forest sinks, or by some other technology. So, by the year 2023, we have crossed the mark of 175 gigawatt of renewable energy. This we have crossed. Then of course, by the year 2028, we are ambitious enough to achieve 410 gigawatt of renewable energy. By the year 2050, we have to double the energy consumption from current 7% to 14%. And finally, by the year 2070, we have to reach net zero capacity. India's electricity mix, as you see, in 2010, we were 84% dependent on coal, but by 2020, it was 77% not coal, fossil fuel. That includes coal as well. By the year 2020, we were 77% dependent on fossil fuel, 23% on renewable energy. And by 2030, we will make it 50-50. The 38th parallel is a latitude that separates USA and Mexico, Israel and Lebanon, Sudan and South Sudan, North Korea and South Korea. So this is a question, why has it been asked? Because a US national has been detained in North Korea after crossing the border. That is the demilitarized zone, which is a highly fortified area. This person who was going from North Korea to South Korea, he was detained by the army of North Korea and he is still in detention. He was doing it illegally, that is why. And this is one of the most fortified areas. And the 38th parallel is the parallel that has been reached through a series of war, and 38th degree parallel is the 38 degree latitude that separates North Korea from South Korea. So the correct answer will be, of course, North Korea and South Korea, option D. These kind of map related questions are dealt by me in the Map in News series or the classes. I have already taken 2 classes and I also gave a practice question for it. If you answer it correctly, I will put your name in the leaderboard as well. So maps, if you're finding any sort of problem, I do that in the Map in News series. Okay. Now, the UNESCO 1970 Convention is related to the prohibition of child labor, repatriation of cultural artifacts, protection of UNESCO sites in the time of armed conflict, women and domestic violence. Recently, the USA has returned a lot of artifacts that are made of terracotta mostly from North, South, Central India, many places. And this is the cultural repatriation. That means returning the colonial loot. So the correct answer to this question will be option B. Okay. And the 1970 Convention on the means of prohibiting and prevention of illicit import, export, and transfer of ownership of cultural property. This is what it is. And state parties, we have that there are 143 state parties to it that have ratified this convention. And the state parties should take measures to prohibit and prevent the illicit trafficking of cultural property. This basically means colonial loot. And it provides a common framework for the state parties to work upon it. Prohibit and prevent the import, export and transfer of cultural property. The return and restitution of cultural property is also covered. That means Kohinoor should come back to India. It is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals defined in the United Nations 2030 Agenda. Specifically, if we talk about the articles, it is Article 7 and 13 of the 1970 Convention that provides that restitution shall take place. Now, I also provide in-depth analysis of major current affairs. So you can tune into the StudyIQ IAS English channel to follow that as well. Recently, I have covered the Black Sea Grain Initiative when Russia pulled out of it. Moving on. So now let's look at the next question. The Remove Debris mission is a mission to tackle space debris or junk, which was developed with the help of NASA, European Union and JAXA, that is the Japanese Space Agency. The USA is responsible for the highest number of space debris. The Kessler effect explains the domino impact that the collision of space debris can have on functional satellites. So we have to see how many are not correct. This question has been asked because allegedly a space debris was washed ashore the Australian coastline. Most of the debris that comes into the atmosphere of the Earth, they burn away. Sometimes they make their way all through the land or the water base. So space junk or space debris is made up of dead satellites, spare rocket parts which are not in use. When they come into the Earth's atmosphere, they can become a hazard if they collide with earthly objects. And this has shown the increasing issue of it. The Kessler effect is actually the effect that will explain the domino impact. That means if one collision occurs because of space debris, it can give birth to chain reaction. Every other satellite will start colliding with each other. And this was explained by Donald Kessler in the year 1978. All right. Also, the USA, no, not the USA, but Russia is responsible for the highest number of space debris. The Remove Debris mission was developed by a consortium of companies. Also, Airbus is included in it, but not EU, NASA and JAXA. So, first statement is incorrect, third is correct, second is incorrect, not correct, two only are the not correct ones. While there are about 2,000 functional satellites, there are also 3,000 dead satellites. And these generally are rogue satellites that do not have contact with the base station. And because of that, they can also collide into the functional satellites. And that is a problem. Why? Because satellites help us in communicating with each other. Internet issues can occur, communication issues can occur. 34,000 species of space junk, they are bigger than 10 centimeter in size. Millions of smaller pieces also create a problem because the sheer speed of them can create issue. Also, space junk, as you can see, I have attached a chart over here that will be available in the PDF. So Donald J. Kessler said that this could give rise to the Kessler effect, in which too many objects that orbit the Earth's orbit, they can collide with each other and crash into each other if not taken care of. So Russia is responsible for the highest number of space junk. After that, we have USA. The USA, China, France, Japan and India stand at 6th. So the Remove Debris project was developed by a consortium of companies which also included Airbus. It consisted of parts such as net, harpoon and a drag sail. So the net is actually like a fishing net that will be pushed out with the help of the harpoon. That harpoon and the net will capture all the space debris and they will drag it throughout. And this is one of the most important missions to remove the space debris. And the mission is led by UK's Surrey Space Center at the University of Surrey. Okay. So the PDF will be made available at my Telegram channel. Do subscribe to it. Thank you so much for watching.